What's up, everybody? My name is Jake Orr, and I'm the varsity boys soccer coach at Essex High School in Essex, Vermont. I'm making this video today to give a quick tutorial on how to make a highlight reel on Hudl. And for a lot of you, especially as high school kids, you're pretty good with technology. You should be able to pick it up pretty quickly. But in helping some of my own student athletes through the process of trying to learn how to make these highlight reels, I found it can be kind of tricky, especially when you're first starting out. So hopefully this video will help make the process a little bit quicker and easier for you so that you can get a good highlight reel going. Now, there's probably two reasons you would want to do this. The main one is probably if you're focused on, or if you have a goal of playing college sports. A highlight reel can be a great tool. It's something you can send out to coaches, and it kind of allows you to prove who you are as a player rather than just typing a paragraph and promising a coach that you're a strong player. If you can show them through video, that might make you more likely to get communication going with that coach, or maybe eventually they'll be interested in giving you a spot on their team. The other reason you might want to make a highlight reel is just for fun. You might want to be able to look back at your senior year of football season and see all your best plays, or your junior year of basketball season and see all your best plays. So as I'm talking through this video, I'll try to highlight some of the differences in terms of maybe what you want to do if this is going to be a college, something that's going to go to a college coach, versus what you might want to do if you're just looking to make something for fun, or maybe something that you can share on your Instagram page or something like that. I'm not an expert at Hudl, but like I said earlier, I've done this a few times, so hopefully I can be helpful. And before we start, I would definitely recommend that you should be working on this on a computer rather than a phone. It's probably possible to do it on a phone, but I think it's going to be more of a headache and a little more challenging than if you're on a computer. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to make myself smaller here so I'm not in the way, and I'm going to go ahead and log in. Now, I'm logging in as Matt Kolar, who is one of the players on my team. That way we can view it from a athlete's perspective. Sorry. Because a coach's screen looks different on Hudl than an athlete's screen does. So you can see I'm logged in here. We've got Matt Kolar, and his feed is mostly just our team's highlights. But today we're focused on him, so we're not really worried about the team highlights. We want to make an individual highlight. So you're obviously going to start by going to video, right? And we've got to, this is where it's going to take a lot of time. You need to spend the time going through video to find plays that you think are worthy of being in your highlights. Now, I didn't want to spend 8 hours making this little tutorial for you, so I already went through and kind of researched and picked out a few clips that we're going to use. So I know that the first one is from this game against Mount Mansfield High School. So I'm going to click on this. My internet cooperates here. We should be good. Okay, here we go. So I've got the game here, and the first thing I want to do is go to your clips. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. That was there from earlier, but I need to remake it. So I had written down earlier when I was kind of researching here that a good play occurs right at the end of this game. So I'm going to go to that spot, and that didn't work. Okay. So I'm just looking through this video right now to try to get to the spot where a good play happened, and I know it's coming up soon. Okay, so I've now finally found the clip I was looking for. Come on, Sam. We can see, comes here. This is our guy here, Matt Kolar. You can see he makes a nice pass. And his teammate finishes it off, and that was a game-winning goal in overtime. So that's a nice play, something we might want to include in our highlight reel. So I'm over here on the right side of the screen, And your screen might look slightly different depending on what sport you play, or like whether your coach tags the games, or whether you have what's called Hudl assist. But you should find this thing that says your clips. So what I want to do is I'm going to use this 5-second button to back up a little bit to kind of where the play began. So the play really began, let's say about here. And I'm going to hit this button that says create clip. So that's going to pop up with a little 7-second, and this is what's actually going to turn into a highlight. So you can see that right now it's not where it needs to be. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it, and let's see if that gets us where we need to be. So we're getting closer, but we're not quite there. Right, we can see the pass, but it would be good to show the whole thing and be able to see the goal. So I'm going to click this little zoom out button there. That'll give me a little more time, and then I can move this and make it a little bit longer. So let's see what it looks like now, maybe a little bit shorter. So we can see, alright, we can clearly see the play, nice pass, and he finishes it off. Now, I don't really need this celebration of Patrick in this clip, so I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. Maybe test it out one more time. Okay, nice pass. We can see the ball go in, see people get excited. That looks good. Okay, so I've got this clip, and I can even come over here and name it. So maybe I'll call this MMU assist, because it was a nice assist against Mount Mansfield. And I'm going to come up to this button right here and hit save clip. Okay, so that just saved this clip right here. Now, here's the important part. I need to take this. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to hit send to highlights. And you can edit stuff here, but I'm not going to bother with that now. I'm going to do it later. So I'm just going to hit publish. This is trying to get me to share on social media. I don't want to do that yet with just this one individual clip. I might want to share my finished reel at the end, but I don't want to do it with the one clip, so I'm just going to X. And see down here in the bottom right corner it says highlight created for Matt Kolar. So I now have that clip in my account, and it'll be there later when I need it. So that was the only highlight I wanted to grab from this game. So I'm going to click exit here. And this should bring me back to my team's video library so I can focus on a different game. So I had another note written down that there was a nice play in this game against Mount Anthony. So this game's loading. Again, I'm going to go over here to the right side and click on clips, because I know I want to make a clip here. Also, a little tip, while you're going through games to try to find highlights, if you click settings right here, this is really nice. You can go to speed and speed it up to like 2.5 times the speed so that you can get through the game faster. So watch what this looks like. Right, we can see people are moving pretty fast out there. Because if I'm trying to spend all this time watching games to find highlights, I don't care about like when other players have the ball, or certainly if I'm a player and I get subbed out of the game, I can skip ahead to the part where I get subbed back in the game, because you don't want to have to watch your entire season just to find some highlights. So I had written down that a nice play happens around the 70th minute. So right about here, we should see something good happen. Alright, and I've still got that in 2.5 speed, so let's slow it down back to normal. And let's see, in this highlight, our guy Matt is starting right here. So let's see what happens. So he gets the ball, puts a nice move on, nutmegs the guy. So a pretty sweet little play, show of his foot skills there. So I'm going to go to create clip. And I'm going to kind of mess with this clip and make sure I get it correct. So it looks like I need to go back a little. Let's see. So I'm just going to mess with this until I get it into the right spot. So that seems to be pretty good right there. We see him make his move. And then a little trick you can use here too, like if I were to extend this and keep it going, after he makes his move, Matt loses the ball. So I don't need to show that in my highlight. I can just end the highlight right after he makes the move. And then for all we know, he's about to make a nice pass to his teammate. So I can end it before he loses the ball and make him look a little better. Or make the clip look a little better than it actually was. So I'm going to name this one Move versus Mount Anthony. I'm going to save that clip. And then just like I did in the other one, I'm going to select this clip, hit send to highlights. And I could edit some stuff here, but I'm going to do that later. So for now, I'm going to hit publish. They want me to share it. I don't want to share it yet, so I'm just going to X, and it should say highlight created for Matt Kolar. So now I've got a couple highlights I can use later. And I'm going to do one more game here, just so we have a few to work with when we go to do the highlight. So I'm going to look at our game against St. Johnsbury. And I'm going to show you how you can make multiple clips from one game, because this was a game where I wrote down that there were 2 specific plays where something good happened for Matt. So let's go to clips. Looks like I already had one, or Matt had already made one, so let's see what this clip looks like. Okay, so a good simple clip there of Matt receiving a pass, finding open space, and then passing to a teammate. So this is another thing to bring up, that depending on what your highlight reel's for, like if you're making this highlight reel to send to a college coach, you want to have a good variety of clips. You probably don't want to just send a video of you scoring 2 goals. You know, as a soccer player, you want to show your foot skills. You might want to show you playing defense. You might want to show you going up for some headers. Or if you were a lacrosse player, you'd want to show yourself picking up some ground balls. If you are a hockey player, you might want to show yourself back checking to get back on defense. Or if you're a basketball player, you might want to show some nice passes as well as you making 3-pointers. So you want to kind of mix it up. So this is a good example. This is a pretty insignificant play, but if you know soccer, you can see that right before Matt gets the ball, he does what's called a shoulder check. So he's showing that he turned his head to check what was going on. Then he took a touch and calmly passed to a teammate. So it might look insignificant, but it's actually a good play. So we're good with that clip. We didn't make any changes, so I'm going to leave it for now. And I want to make a couple other clips. So let's see. I wanted to go to the 76th minute. So we got to do some math here. Okay, there's the 76th minute. And I'm not really finding what I need to see, so I'm going to keep scrolling here. I think it's coming up. Sorry, I'll get myself out of the way. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so even though he didn't score on this play, it was still a pretty nice play. Matt's right here in the middle. Ball comes towards him. And right about here, he ends up taking it off the chest and firing a nice shot that just misses. So again, it doesn't have to be a perfect play to include in your highlight reel. This still shows some clear skill by Matt. So I'm going to click the Create Clip button. And let's go and see if we can edit this clip. So I'm going to try to start it when the ball is coming down towards his chest. And we probably don't need to see the bummed out reactions after. So I've got a nice short clip right there of him taking the ball off the chest and a nice half volley that just misses. Okay, so I've got a good clip there. I'm going to shorten it a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to save that clip. Most of them I've been giving names so far. You don't need to, but maybe I can say St. J volley. Okay, and then there's one more from this game that I wanted to do. A nice assist. Actually comes up right after this, so let's scroll through. Okay, so our guy Matt is right here. So let's see what happens on this play, then we can create a clip. Oh, my bad. Okay, back to where we were. So here's Matt. Header's coming. Let's see what happens. So he takes it off the chest, makes a nice move, nice pass. And this actually leads to the game-winning goal for our team. So even though Matt wasn't the one who scored the goal, it's probably nice to show the whole play so we can see the significance of this goal really started right here when Matt made this play and helped us win the game. So I'm going to create a clip. Now, Hudl only makes the clip 7 seconds automatically, and this is obviously going to take more than 7 seconds. So I think it started around there. I'm going to hit the little zoom out button here because I might need to make this one a little longer. So let's see what we've got here. Good, that's the right starting spot. Makes the pass, and we probably want to see this ball go in and then maybe a little bit of the celebration. So right about there is good. And this thing is entirely too long, right? This little shows where it is, so I'm going to drag that way in. And maybe watch it one more time. So there's Matt making his nice play. Gets the pass off, which helps set up the game-winning goal for our team. And we can see we're all excited. There's Matt right there. He's fired up, and that's a nice clip. So I am going to save that clip. And maybe I'll name that one. Well, doesn't really matter, but maybe I'll name that Sam's goal versus St. J. And I've got that. Okay, so now what I want to do, I've got these 3 good clips from this game. I can take all 3 of them at the same time and send them to highlights. And you see down here it said highlights created for Matt Kolar. So now when I go in to make a highlight reel later, it'll have all 3 of those there waiting for me. So I'm going to exit out of there and go back to my home screen. Now it's time to actually make our highlight reel. So you would think you click highlights, but those are actually the highlights for our team. So these are like highlights that I, as a coach, made for our team. So these are, and some auto-generated highlights. Like I made this one the other day, goals of the year. But we want to make a personal highlight for Matt. So we need to go up to his name here and go to where it says your highlights. And what we're going to see here is some of those clips we just made, Hudl automatically generates into highlights. So like the ones we were just doing were from the St. Johnsbury game. And you can see that right now Hudl's still working on uploading that and turning it into a highlight. But we don't really care about these ones. These are just the individual games. Our goal right now is to make a longer highlight reel with all of Matt's stuff. So I'm going to go here. Again, I went up to his name and to your highlights. Now I'm going to go to the create highlight button. And this is going to pop up. So this is kind of my workspace where everything happens. So up here I can give it a title. So I might say Matt Kolar senior highlights. Here I can change the theme. So it kind of gives me these templates to work with. And I'll keep it simple here. One of our school colors is blue, so we can use the blue one. And then we're good for now. So now we go down here and we want to start adding things. So I'm going to start with a slide, okay, which will allow me to put a title slide. So if I use this, it's going to allow me to type in what I want it to say. So I might make the title Matt Kolar, and I could say, maybe I'll do EHS Soccer Senior Highlights. And then I can add that slide to my reel. And boom, that's the way my video is going to start right there. So it's got his name and it's got a nice title. Next, I'm going to choose some music. So I can go to music here. And unfortunately, you can't, I mean, there's probably some higher level stuff you can do that involves like a separate program to get like your favorite song on here. But Hudl has just a bunch of like instrumental music you can choose from. So you can test it out by clicking on them. So like if I click on this one, right, we can hear what that sounds like. And maybe I'm thinking like, I don't think that's what I'm looking for. So maybe I go for something like this that's a little more intense, right? And I can test them all out and see which one I like. This one sounds fine to me, so let's select that and add that to our reel. And we can see that's going to last for 4 minutes and 37 seconds. So that's probably going to cover our whole video. If it's a really long video, I might have to add another song in, but we should be good. So I'm going to keep going. After this title slide, one thing, this would be a good thing to do if you are making this specifically for college. It'd be good to add in some extra information at the start of your video. If you're just doing this for fun, this probably isn't necessary. But what you can do here, and I'm going to exit out of Hudl for a second and go into, I just made this quickly in a Word document. And so what I can do here, I've got some information about Matt, right? What position he plays, his height and weight, some of his statistics and awards, and then contact information, what school he plays for, what club team, and some of his academic information. So you can see Matt here is an all-star student. And then I need to find a way to screenshot this. So I'm going to use snipping tool because I'm on a Windows computer. And screenshot that, so that looks good. And I'll just save that to my desktop so I have it. So I should be good with all that stuff. And if I go back to Hudl here, I'm going to go to photos this time. And it should let me upload that screenshot I just took. So you can see what that's going to look like. And I add that to the reel. So we've got a pretty nice intro here. We've got a title slide with his name and a title. And then we've got some extra information to kind of show what's going on there. So especially if a college coach, just if you wanted to give them a bunch of information, or if they like the highlight video, they might go back to this part and be like, okay, what was that kid's email, or where is he from, who does he play for, that kind of stuff. So we've got that in there. So we've kind of done all the weird stuff, and now we can finally get to the part where we start putting some actual soccer action in. So everything happens from this plus sign. And now I'm going to go to videos and try to find some actual videos to put in here. So what I'm going to do is start with some of the clips I made from that St. John's-Bury game. And I only remember making 3 clips, and I'm seeing 4 here. Sometimes this will happen, or Hudl might automatically tag you in something, or your coach might tag you in something, and it pops up here. So you can preview them just by kind of hovering over them. So, all right, that was a play we saw earlier, so I like that one. Let's see what this is. So somehow I ended up duplicating that one, so I don't need to put it in there twice. Here's the shot we clipped earlier where Matt just barely misses, and hopefully this is the goal. Yep, Matt makes a nice play, which leads to our team's goal. So I want that one as well. So this is add 3 clips to my highlight reel. I'm going to add them. So now I could exit out of that, and you can see that I've got the title slide, I've got some information about Matt, and then it starts actually showing him play some soccer. So we've got that right there. Right, we've got our next clip right there, and our third clip. Now, order obviously matters, right? If I'm sending this to a college coach, this might not be the first one I want to pop up. That might not really catch somebody's eye. So out of these 3 clips, probably the one that would be the most exciting to start with would be something like this. So it shows Matt making a good play, and it shows our team making a good play. So right away, the coach might kind of be like, okay, this looks decent, and the kids are all excited, and it looks like the level of play was okay. So I might start with that one. Now let's talk about how we can edit the individual highlights. So this clip right here where you see my mouse, if I decide I don't like it, I could delete it, but I want to edit this one. So I'm going to click on the edit button, and it gives me a few options here. The first and most important option, so I'm going to pause this, is this little middle thing right here, which allows me to highlight Matt. And it gives me all these different options, which, again, if you're doing this for fun, you might want to kind of mess around with them. If you're planning to send this to a college coach, you probably should make it as simple as possible. So I don't really like any of them, to be honest, but this one looks fine. So I'm going to put that around Matt so that whoever's watching this knows specifically who they should be watching on this play. So I've got that set up there. And then I could also go to the text. And if I wanted to, I could do something like this. I could type in like nice play versus St. J. Nice little rhyme right there. Now, this is not something I would recommend doing if you're planning to send this to a coach, but if you're trying to have some fun, trying to mess around, that might be good to put in there. So I'm going to get rid of that. I don't want that in there. So you also can mess around with clipping it if you want to make it longer or shorter, but I think we're good. I think we're in good shape. So I'm going to hit done on this one. So I can now see that when I play this highlight, this is what it's going to look like. So it shows who to watch, and then shows Matt making the nice play. Okay, so now I want to add a few more from some different games. So I'm going to go in here. We talked about we made a clip of Matt making a nice play earlier. Right, I think I might have duplicated this. So yeah, I'll choose that one. So I'm going to add that clip to the reel. And then that pops up here. So maybe I want that. I figure that's a pretty good play. Maybe I want that one to be second in my highlight reel. Again, I can just shuffle these down here to change the order. So I'm going to go in, and I want to edit this one. So I'm going to wait until the right time. I'm going to stop that. This seems like a good time to kind of want to look for a good time to highlight Matt here. So I'm moving this thing, and probably the best time I could highlight him would be right there before he gets the ball passed to him. So I'm going to click done on that one, and that looks good to me. Let's just test it out one more time. Yeah, that looks perfect. Right before he gets the ball, he can make a nice pass to Patrick, and we've got the goal. I'm realizing these other ones I need to add that too. I want to kind of highlight Matt in every single one of these. So like I said earlier, you guys will get pretty good at this, and it should be quick. It shouldn't take as long as as I'm taking here as I try to walk you through it step by step. So I can highlight Matt right there, and I may want to make that a little smaller so it doesn't get in the way of the ball up here. So I'm done with that one. So that looks good. We're just going to add a few more clips here because I made a few before I started this video. So that was one I wanted to add. If I remember right, these 3 are ones I want to add. So these were all clips I made earlier before I started recording, just so I didn't waste your time. So now I've got a bunch of clips, and I can kind of look through them, and I should play around with the order. It might be a good idea to start, especially if this is for college, to put some of your better plays at the start, maybe one in the middle and one at the end, to try to kind of keep their interest so you can really space things out and play with that order. For this one, I'm not too worried about it because I'm just kind of making this for fun. So I'm just going to kind of maybe randomly jumble these a little bit. And I probably want to start, I probably want to end with a good one, so it's hard to tell what's what anymore, but let's go through that. So let's see, our first one looks like that. That's all good. Next one right here, I don't think we've edited this one yet, so let's see what happens here. Here's Matt. Nice steal. Perfect through ball to Patrick, who goes ahead and scores. So that's a nice clip to have. So I'm going to edit. Let's see, I'm going to stop this over here right before Matt becomes involved. So this is a little wacky sometimes. So I'm going to move this until Matt becomes involved. This is one of the hard parts for me when I make these. I struggle with these. So highlight Matt, make it a little smaller here, and I can just click done. I know that one's going to be good. I think we already did this one if I remember right. Yep. So let's keep going. That one's done and good. It's really hard to scroll from side to side here, so I have to kind of mess with it without changing the order. I don't think we've done this one yet, so let's make sure we edit this. Okay, so that was a pretty simple one. A nice pass by Matt. So I can highlight him right there and hit done. Already did that one. Let's see what we got here. That one's Matt scoring a goal, so let's make sure we get him highlighted there. So, and I might want to move this so it's a little closer to when the action actually occurs. So right here is probably good because that's when his teammate AJ steals the ball here, so we can kind of now start to focus on Matt and the run he makes into goal. Yep, so there he goes. I don't really know why this thing stays there, but that's fine. So we've got it in the right spot at the right time right there. Let's double check that one to make sure. Yep, that came out okay. And then we haven't seen this one yet. So there's Matt, nice little header, little give and go right here. And a shot that just misses, but that was a pretty nice play. Shows the strength of his shot. He had a couple nice touches and a little give and go right here. So I'm going to edit this. And I probably should show when Matt first gets the ball because he had a nice little touch with his header. So I can show him right here and hit done. And what do we got? Just one more. So we should make sure that this is a good one to finish with.
You know why? Well, he takes it well.
And I'm realizing I already had this clip in there somewhere, right? So I accidentally put that in twice. So since I made a mistake, I'm going to hit the garbage button. I'm thinking I didn't add the clip where he had the nice move and nutmegged the guy. Let's see if I can find that one. Here it is. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to add that to the reel. And maybe that'll be a fun one to finish with at the end. So here it is. You see him. Yeah, there he makes his move. So I can go in and add a highlight on Matt at the right time. So probably right here is good because he just got the ball. So I can highlight him here, and then we can see what happens after that. So now I have done everything here, right? I've got my clips, I've got my music, so I'm finally ready to hit the publish button. And it says your highlight has been saved and published to your profile. So probably at this point, you might not want to share it yet. You can do that later. You probably want to watch it first. So I'm going to go down here to play your highlight. And it's going to it almost always says this, we're processing your video, check back in a few minutes. So I'm going to pause this for a second and I'll come back once it's ready. Okay, we're back. So I had to wait about 2 minutes and I just kept clicking the refresh button and eventually it popped back up. So now we can watch the finished product and let's see if we like how it looks. So we got the music going, there's our title slide, some information about Matt for maybe a coach to look at, and then let's start watching the highlight here. So that was a good clip to start with, kind of piques the interest and a good solid first impression of our team. Perfect highlight there, and we can see him steal the ball, make a nice pass, and then even though it's not him scoring, we want to show what happens on the play to show that his play led to a goal. So this is looking good so far. Sometimes when I've been making them in the past, I've had a lot of trouble getting the circle thing on the player at the right time. So sometimes that's a little funky and hard to figure out. You just kind of have to play around with it. So it's a pretty basic play. Like that one's a little bit off. I could go back and move that a little bit if I wanted. And a nice assist for Matt there. Nice goal by Sapphic. Here's a shot that was a near miss. Yeah, not the end of the world to show one that doesn't go in because that was still a nice play. There's Matt scoring a goal. And that's our highlight video. We also could have, just like we did at the start, I could have added in another slide or photo at the end that says like, thanks for watching, and maybe has the contact info on there again or something like that. So I could have finished it off with something like that. Now, hopefully you found this helpful. Before we call it, before we end it here, I want to show you one more thing. So if I go back to Matt Kolar and go to highlights, let's say you were watching that video and there was something in there that you didn't like. All right, all you would do is go to your highlights and here it is. Now just click the edit button and it's going to bring me back to that screen. And I could go into the highlight that I didn't like maybe one of those where the circle was just barely off, and I could make a change. Then I would just click publish, and I might have to wait 2 minutes again for it to upload, and then it would just update my highlight. So don't panic if something goes wrong the first time. You can always go back and edit it. And then if I want to share it, right, I could click this share button. I don't think many of you are using Facebook. Some of you might use Twitter. or you could just directly get the link. Now, one of the bummers about Hudl, it's pretty hard to get it on Instagram. Oh, not that hard. It's just inconvenient. So what you should do if you want to get it on Instagram, pull up Hudl on your phone and screen record the highlight video, and then you'll just have a normal video on your phone. So then you could upload it to Instagram. That's what I've done for like our team social media page in the past. So it's an extra step you have to do, but it still works. You'd probably have to do that as well if you wanted to upload something to YouTube. You'd probably have to go to your phone and screen record it, and then you could try to get it on YouTube. So that's a little bit tricky when we talk about that. So I hope you found this video helpful. I think you now have what you need to get to work. Again, the hard part is really going through all the video and finding the plays you want to highlight. But if you use that tip of watching it in like fast motion, that'll help you save some time. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions and you want help from me. My email is jorr@ewsd.org. And I'd also love if you find this video helpful and you do make a highlight reel, if you want to shoot the link to me at that email, I'd love to see some of the finished products. Okay, so thank you for watching. I'm realizing one more thing I can show you that's going to be helpful. This button here that says reports. If your team pays for Hudl Assist, or if your coach does a lot of tagging, you're going to have a bunch of stats here. So this might be a good place to start in finding highlights. So for example, if I play around with these filters, I can say I want to see all the games from this season. Internet's letting me down here. Okay, so now I'm looking at all the games, and I want to focus on an individual athlete, so I'm going to click athlete. And then here's Matt Kolar, who we just made that highlight video for. And what I can do, since our team pays for the tagging service, a good place to start with highlights might be, hey, here's Matt's 28 shots from this season. So I can click on that 28. And if this works correctly, it will bring me to a playlist that jumps around from game to game and shows every single shot that Matt has had for the entire season. So right here it's showing a shot against Mount Mansfield, and you can see this was against Burn Burton and CVU and South Burlington. So right there, Matt kind of sends one to the far post. So he's seeing all these shots, and if he liked that one, he could say, oh, I want to highlight that one. And there you'd be able to make a highlight, which he could then use later. So he could take those and make clips out of them. So that just might be a convenient way if your team pays for that. All right, I think that's all I got for you. Feel free to reach out with questions. Hopefully you found this helpful, and good luck.